KUAM News Hotspot is brought to you by
Pacific Points, Do More, Get More, and Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Good morning, everybody. Hafa buenas. I'm Jason Salas, and we are KUAM. We are in Harmon, and we are coming to you worldwide. We're on YouTube right now, live. We're on Facebook Live, so if you happen to be a little someone finding out what our YouTube link is, you can check out youtube.com/KUAM News, and we will stream right to your phone. We got a lot to get to, so let's get this thing started.
The menu, brought to you by King's Restaurant, always open, always local, and Ruby Tuesday Guam, home of the Fresh Garden Bar.
All right, coming up on your show of shows today, we will check in with our Tomas Manglonia, who was in Saipan for inauguration festivities. Also, we're going to talk with the director of the Department of Youth Affairs to get an update with programs and services that department oversees. And with Monday being Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday a week from today, we'll get details on how our friends at the Serve Guam Commission and AmeriCorps will honor the American legend. And we're going to close out the show with a look at your island weather and find out what is going on with all of that rain that we had yesterday. But it is now official that the two highest elected seats in the CNMI have taken office, and our Tomas Manglonia was there to cover it all and has this report.
I'm reporting live outside of the Multi-Purpose Center, where at this hour, Governor Arnold Palacios and Lieutenant Governor David Apatang will be taking their oath of office and delivering their inaugural address. The inauguration marathon began on Saturday with the swearing-in of AG Edward Manabusan, and this morning with the CNMI mayors. And just past midnight today, the soft swearing-in was held for Arnold Palacios and David Apatang, where we got a chance to speak with them both. Just your comments as you are now officially in your seat before the symbolic ceremonial swearing in at 10 a.m.
Well, we're officially sworn in. And you know, like the last sentence, so help us God. We ask our Lord for his guidance, and as we lead the Commonwealth. So, yeah, it's surreal, but we will work very hard. Yes.
Lieutenant Governor Apatang.
Oh yeah, thank you. Good evening. It's midnight already, and we're officially sworn in as governor and lieutenant governor. And I want to thank our voters of the Commonwealth, our people who supported us and gave us this responsibility to move the Commonwealth forward to a better life for everybody. Again, thank you, and tomorrow again, it's a big day for us at Inauguration Day. It's just much.
The Palacios-Apatang administration will be taking office today, and they will be the first independents to hold that seat, and also both the oldest people to hold that office. We'll have more tonight on Primetime. For now, I'm Tomas Manglonia, reporting for KUAM News on Saipan.
All right, thanks so much, Tomas. Great job covering that. If you want to see any of Tomas's extended interviews with any of the newly elected leaders up in the NMI, make sure to check out our YouTube channel. Once again, youtube.com/KUAM News. All right, joining me now on the KUAM couch to talk about the legendary, the American icon, the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and the day that now in America bears his name, and the MLK Day of Service are our friends from Sanctuary, the director of the AmeriCorps program, Edward Mesa of Sanctuary AmeriCorps, and Charlene Masibuemai of UOG AmeriCorps. Half a day, guys.
Half a day.
Half a day. All right, thank you so much for joining me. This is something, of course, to honor Dr. King, that we do every year. First of all, how do we actually make sure that his teachings, his philosophy, the lessons that he taught us, how do we make sure that those are preserved over time?
So with Serve Guam and all of the AmeriCorps programs on Guam, we every day, our 9 to 5, so to speak, is giving back to the community, service in the community, whether it's through our focus areas in education, environmental stewardship, and others, but also during the pandemic, if you got vaccinated at the field house, 9 out of 10 times that was probably an AmeriCorps member who did your pre-screening. And so that's how, and then MLK is about, one of his greatest quotes was, everybody can be great because everybody can serve. And so when we're coming up on this holiday, it's a day off. It's a day off for government, for everybody, but it's just a reminder to everybody that it's a day off, but it's actually a day on. So pick that day to give back to your community.
I like that.
Whether it's to your neighbor, elderly neighbor who maybe needs help cutting the grass, or with your mayor's office to help do something that needs to be done in the community, whether it's beautification or revitalizing a building that's run down or whatever it is.
Yeah, I was going to say, Ed, certainly not a day off for those of you who work at AmeriCorps, because you guys are working really, really hard to make sure that Dr. King's legacy is honored here in the island. And I would probably say because what we believe as Guamanians, right?
Yes.
Like, not necessarily like, like Chamorro, but anybody that calls this wonderful island our home is giving back and making sure that, like that we've got the blessings that we have, that we can help our fellow.
Yes.
Yeah, so in your opinion, how do we make sure that, and what's being done as far as activities to honor Dr. King?
Well, just started off with the actual event that will be on next week, Monday, January 16th. Our MLK National Service event is at the Micronesia Mall Center Court from 11 to 3. So at 11 o'clock, it kicks off with the governor and the lieutenant governor doing the proclamation signing. Then right after is the legislative resolution. And then we have some guest speakers that will be doing speeches, who will be talking about the importance of MLK. And then that usually will run maybe about an hour long. And then we go right into our community outreach event where we will have all the Guam AmeriCorps programs and other community organizations that will be talking about their programs and how people can get involved with their organization.
Mm-hmm. A lot of, Charlene, what happens with a lot of Dr. King Day's festivities are reaching out to youth and making sure that, like it happens in schools, and you always see, there are poster contests, I know, and essay contests and whatnot. Have you guys been like out to the actual schools ahead of MLK Day?
So this week, actually, we're heading out to a couple of elementary schools, and we're trying to connect with Ukadu High School to kind of go over who is MLK first of all. And
that'd be good because you get the
him.
Ukadu
Yes.
and the FB communities
Yes.
at the same time because they're both there.
Yes, so we're that's this week. We have what schools are you going to, Mr.
Yeah,
Ed?
so we're going to Antolon, I know that, BMS, MU Lujan, Talafofa Elementary School. So we'll be doing school presentations pretty much this whole week.
Mm-hmm.
And then Saturday is our second Saturday of the month where we do a community project out there. So, yeah.
Mm. When you think and when you reflect on what Dr. King said and the impact he had and the way that his words continue to resonate to this day,
Mm-hmm.
and that was like back in the 60s, right?
Right.
The early 60s.
Right.
How strong of a bearing does it have on you? And because the world's such a crazy place today, we had the pandemic, there's all this geopolitical stuff going on and everything. What lessons can we take away in addition to service, like still that, like let us drive home, like, what he believed in?
I think it's also rooted in our culture, right? So it's not a every man for himself type deal. It's like when you're going to do something, when something needs to be done, you don't just think about yourself. You have to take others with you in your community and uplift together, because that's how we can continue to strive and move on, is if we work together. The impact is bigger when you work as a community to get things done.
Yeah, my grandfather on my dad's side always told me, he's like, if you take 2 scoops of rice and everything and somebody comes along, he's like, you have the other one. He's like, you always make sure that, if you have the opportunity to help somebody, that, you seize that opportunity.
Right.
Okay, how can people get in touch with you guys, Ed, if they feel, because, about giving back, I'm sure you guys need help to get the word out and, to conduct all these activities, because you guys got a busy day.
Yeah, sure. So, for more information about MLK event on Monday, they can just contact me. My number is 671-687-7194, or they can email me at emesa@americorpsguam.org.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what is working for AmeriCorps, and having that solid grounding and that foundation of service to the community and being stewards of what we believe in? What does that mean to each of you?
What does that mean to me? My goodness. So I was mentioning last week that when I was younger, I didn't know that this is what I wanted to do when I grew up, right? Just the giving back aspect of the community. And when we were in the middle of a pandemic and we were trying to recruit AmeriCorps members to join our program, we thought it was going to be difficult because nobody wants to leave their homes. Nobody, we're locked down and everything. But when we send the word out that we need AmeriCorps members to help us to serve the community, the response that we got was, I couldn't believe that, people want to volunteer, want to give back to the community. They just don't know who to contact, where do you go, who do you talk to say, hey, I want to help here, how do I do this? And so just being out there and being kind of the middleman for the youth to give back to their community and exposing them to all of these things that they wouldn't have been exposed to if they were just if they didn't have the opportunity to join the AmeriCorps program. Well, it's just rewarding.
Let me ask you, Ed, because I mean, there may be some people watching this right now, even young people, even maybe more mature people that said, I want to contribute. This island's been very, very good to me, but I don't know if I have the right skill set. I was never in student government. I don't, like me, I don't consider myself to be a leader. I don't know if I've got what it takes to be an effective volunteer. What would you say to those people to inspire them?
You just have to go out and do it. Just doesn't matter how big or how small. Just go out, serve your community in whatever way you want to serve. Yeah.
I think Charlene said it best. It's when MLK Day is here and everything, if you happen to be mowing your own lawn, mow your neighbors too.
Yep.
If they're cool with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's even things as simple as that, right? Or if you see your neighbor mowing their lawn, bring them over, some water or something like that. So it doesn't have to be some big grand production and everything like that. Service can start at a very small level and still have a huge impact. Right?
Yes.
Okay, so Ed, final words on what MLK is going to mean for our island community and our island family.
I mean, MLK means so much, and it's important that we invite everybody and anybody on next week, Monday, to come out and, listen to the guest speakers, see what our AmeriCorps program have to offer to the community and how they can get involved with AmeriCorps. Every year, every single day, 365 days in a year, we are constantly recruiting volunteers and AmeriCorps members. So please come out, join our event, ask questions, get involved.
All right, because when you volunteer, you practice Inafa Maulik. That's something that each and every one of us believe. We take care of our neighbors, we take care of, because we're all family here. So Charlene and Ed, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you on the road.
Yes.
We'll try and catch up with you guys because you guys will be all over the place, but we'll be there too.
All right.
All right, and please stay tuned because we are talking to Melanie Brennan, the Director of the Department of Youth Affairs, about programs that the agency oversees when we come back right here in the HotSpot.
Hey, you want to order some Taco Bell?
Two grilled chicken burritos, two bold flavors. Order on the app, only at Taco Bell.
Hapaday, Guahan families! Are you interested in getting your Hunter Education certification? The Department of Agriculture's Hunter Education Program is hosting ongoing in-person classes open to Guam residents ages 13 and older. You'll learn hunter ethics and responsibility, wildlife conservation, basics of firearm and shooting skills, hunting equipment and techniques, survival skills, outdoor field skills, and more. The class meets the International Hunter Education Association national standards and does not expire. Attendees must pre-register in advance by emailing jane.dia@doag.guam.gov. Student manuals must be completed before the class day. Classes are open on a first-come, first-served basis. Students under 18 must be accompanied by a parent or legal guardian. And if you can't attend our in-person class, don't worry. You may also register for the online Hunter Education Certification course by emailing jane.dia@doag.guam.gov. Safe hunting begins with Hunter Education.
How deep do Pizza Hut's roots run in the islands? Through all the decades, we know what you love. Great taste at an even better price. Like our large 3-topping carry-out pizza for just $13.99. You choose your favorite toppings, meat, vegetables, or any combination that totals 3. Our $13.99 large 3-topping pizza. Order online and carry one out today. Only at Pizza Hut, the island's best.
KUAM News. winner of the 2022 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for the Culture Club.
Joining me now in the KUAM News Zoom room is the one and only Melanie Brennan. She, of course, is the Director of the Department of Youth Affairs. Melanie, Hafaday and Happy New Year to you and your staff over there at DYA.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you as well.
All right. The agency is so very critical in our islands, our way of life, our culture, new year, new mission. But unfortunately, also the challenges that you faced as an agency, those have carried over as well and everything. So what are you doing as a team and as a department to, like, address some of those things that linger?
Okay, so, the emergency declaration has been uplifted. And so, of course, that gives us an opportunity to bring in more programming, more activities for our youth residents. And we have already been in communication and leveraging our nonprofit support, from West Care, from Manetlu, from even, Bake Their Day. We're bringing people in so that our youth residents can experience, what the kids in their communities are experiencing. As you know, like even with the newly resurrected Summer Youth Employment Program, the governor had authorized us to hire our residents, right, within the Department of Corrections. So we all gave them jobs. They all had something to do during the summer. And that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to give our youth residents purposeful activity that they probably would not get, if they were outside. So we hook them up with jobs. We hook them up with any of the not-for-profit, even government agency services, so that when they leave here, they somehow have benefited from being here. And I guess that's what we want to do differently. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure that kids who come here, first off, that it's rare, that, not anyone should come here just because they were picked up. If there's alternative placement in the community, that's, DYA should be a last resort. And so, yes, we want to make sure that, that it's rare, but we also want to make sure it's fair. And so we want to look at ethnic disparities and why that is so we want to address that as well. We want to encourage our staff to get to develop professionally, and one of the blessings of COVID was that it really opened up virtual opportunities. We're on webinars. We are now all trained in adolescent development, adolescent behavior, so that professionals who are working with kids actually have training, back to training. So it's not just, oh, I'm a corrections officer. I'm a corrections officer, but I have experience and I've taken training on how to deal with adolescents. So really, 2023 is opening.
Almost like the psychology of your clients as well, right? Not just like, okay, you have to be in this room at a certain time, or, you follow a very rigid schedule, but also, behaviorally, why are they doing what you do, and how you can, how you can address them and, and affect them in a more positive way, much quicker, I would assume.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So it's not about like, oh, what did you do? It's how did you get here? How did you get to this point? And how can we help you? And so what we've noticed about our kids, if you look at our population now, and I guess that's the good thing about having a case management system, we can look at our kids as individuals, but collectively. And we can look at ethnic disparities, but we can also look at kids that are dually involved, meaning they're part of the child welfare system. There's some abuse and neglect in their history, as well as the juvenile justice system. So we call that dually involved. And over half our population currently is dually involved. And so that's a statistic that is something we want to look at. We want to understand better. And we want the community to understand that these youth don't just commit crimes. There's a whole story behind each individual. And so how we really stand to help them and to make them thrive in the community, because they're juveniles, they're going to be released anyway. How we help them is we look at the root causes of why they intersected with the juvenile justice system in the first place. And so if they have no stable home environment, our social workers work with them to find placement. And DYA should not be alternative placement for kids in the child welfare system, but sometimes they end up, that's what happens. And so we really want to work at those root causes. So again, 2023 gives us an opportunity to really, really look at, how we as practitioners in juvenile justice can develop ourselves, but how we can better help the youth that we come across.
I'm sure that case management system, Mel, is sorely needed and very much welcome at your agency, because I mean it's not just the cases that you deal with they are, as you said, they are human beings, and these are young people in our community, but it's it's not transactional where you just like, okay, well, you're client number 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's definitely,
You're not just a folder in the back. Yeah. You're managing a relationship.
Yeah, it's about
We did that at the
relationships.
same time.
Yeah, it's about those relationships and developing those relationships. And also, when you're working with the youth, you really have to think about who they're going home to, whether it's parents or caregivers, because their success is intertwined, right? Is connected to the success of their parents or caregivers. So we're not only helping the youth, we want to help the family, we want to engage the family, and we want to make sure that, that we have successful outcomes. I mean, it's so often, actually too often, you hear about youth who graduate from this system into the adult system. It's like we knew where they were going, but we didn't divert them. And so it's about diversions, it's about deflections, it's about helping them when they leave here.
Okay, Mel, before I let you go, I want to also give you the ability to, shine the light on a lot of the positive things. And, DYA is doing so many positive things and everything, but when dealing with cases, we want to hear about the success stories.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's too often, right? We're only talking about the correctional side, but a lot of the good work happens in our youth resource centers, right? We have 3 youth resource centers. We offer mentoring. We offer after school care. We have intercession camps during the holiday breaks and summer camps during the summer. And so these camps, these resource centers exist to provide positive youth development opportunities for all our kids, right? And that's like one of the critical areas and components that we have to prevent delinquency is to provide kids with opportunities, all kids with opportunities, so that everybody's at a level playing field. So we just closed one of our Christmas camps just recently. And so now we're gonna open up the regular after school resource center activities.
Okay,
so
I would love to do like a live stream or, talk to you about that. We'll get you back on to talk about that. That's a fantastic program.
That would be perfect. And actually have it down at one of the centers and maybe talk to the kids that are involved.
Oh, yes, please. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. So
rather than my face, rather than my face, talk to the kids, talk to the parents.
Right on. Well, it is part of who we are as Guamanians. We're taught to, honor those who came before us, but also to make sure that we care for and teach the next generation and the youth. So Melanie Brennan of the Department of Youth Affairs, you folks, fine folks over there are truly doing the Lord's work. And we always congratulate you on your successes. And we wish you the best going into 2023.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
How deep do Pizza Hut's roots run in the islands? Through all the decades, we know what you love. Great taste at an even better price. Like our large 3-topping carry-out pizza for just $13.99. You choose your favorite toppings. Meat, vegetables, or any combination that totals 3. Our $13.99 large 3-topping pizza. Order online and carry one out today. Only at Pizza Hut, the island's best.
We're living in a new world with new ways of communicating, connecting, and moving through life.
Every day seems to be marked with change, and with all these changes, you need trusted people you can rely on for advice and insights about the things that really matter.
Let Gina and I walk you through everything you need to know about real estate, from buying to selling to renting, and all the details in between.
Join us with Jason Solis every week on House to Home.
House to Home every Tuesday on KUAM News Extra, presented by Remax Diamond Realty.
Hey, you want to order some Taco Bell?
Two grilled chicken burritos, 2 bold flavors. Order on the app, only at Taco Bell.
What you need to know from the Northern Marianas. Follow KUAM CNMI on Instagram for the latest regional headlines.
Let's talk about the weather, shall we? Because if you live on Guam, as I do, and you really, really love the island weather, as I do, And you were trying to exercise yesterday, as I was. You were not able to because there was a lot of the wet stuff coming from directly above us. Now, who better to explain why and, more importantly, where we go from here than my buddy Landon Aylett. He is at the National Weather Service. At times like these, like our friends at the NWS, and, you know, so appreciated, so critical. So let's go into the KUAM News Zoom room right now where Landon is stationed. He's, of course, over in the office at Teton. So, Landon, I know you guys were saying ahead of time that you were expecting really, really rainy day yesterday, really, really rainy day today. I guess 1 out of 2 ain't bad.
Yeah, 1 out of 2 is not that bad. The rain definitely did come down across Guam yesterday. It was more of a Guam and Rota event and not so much for Tinian and Saipan where they had that shear line. We had these two features coming together generally over the Mariana Islands. That was a weak tropical wave coming out of Central Micronesia coming up into the Mariana Islands. At the same time, we had a shear line dropping down southward over the Mariana Islands. I'm going to turn my screen around just a little bit. This is what we're looking at. So we had the surface, the tropical wave coming up from Chuk. It was more or less a open wave surface trough as opposed to a closed low-level circulation. So that was not so bad to speak of. But we had this old cold front of boundary, a shear line, that's been dropping down southward, and that's kind of stalled out this morning over Rota, Tinian, and Saipan. The winds have been picking up gradually across Guam at the airport. We saw the winds around 5 to 6 miles per hour this morning. Now they're upwards of 10 to 15 miles per hour. But as you go up northward across the island chain, those winds really pick up, and that's because of the stronger winds that exist along and north of that shear line, where we've been seeing sustained winds of 15 to 20 miles per hour at Saipan with gusts up to 30 to 32 miles per hour this morning. So the good news for Saipan, we've not had that heavy convective rainfall. That's where you're more indicative of showers and thunderstorms with that deep convection, because they have the governor's inauguration up there this morning, and that was an outdoor event, I believe, around 10 o'clock this morning. So we've been holding our breath up there, but right now the radar does not look bad up there, with just a lot of light to moderate showers, and it's all shallow moisture, so it's riding below the radar beam well up to our north. So if we're not seeing it on our radar down here, then it means it's shallow moisture. It's just more light nuisance rainfall and drizzle, and that's what they've been dealing with the gusty winds. With this heavier showers and thunderstorms, that was between Rota and Tinian. That's now all dissipating nicely, and it's really not a bad day at this time. The current forecast on the street may need to be updated because we have an abundant amount of sunshine across Guam, and it looks like we're going to be some peaks of sunshine at Tinian and Saipan as well. So really not a bad day with all the rainfall yesterday. We had rainfall totals anywhere between 2 and 4 inches of rain across Guam, with some flash flooding occurring down in Maritza, the Barcenas housing area. Those are the typical areas for flooded streets, and that river that cuts into that 90-degree angle right along Route 4, and then it curves and goes under the highway there. That was a problem.
Can we talk about that for a second, because I follow you guys on social media, as everybody should, and we highly make sure follow NWS Guam on all social media platforms. They put out amazing information. I know the initial projections, and again, these are forecasts on Saturday night, where the Guam might receive 3 to 5 inches of rain. I'm not sure if that was a little bit more on the conservative end or maybe like an overestimation, but you said we got about 2 to 4. And now that I think about it, we got pretty good doses of rain multiple times yesterday, but for the most part, it was just a really, really overcast day.
Yeah, it was definitely overcast. A little bit of a delay to the rainfall yesterday morning, but the hot spot was in Tumuni. We had about 3.5 inches measured at one of the gauges, and then in several other measurements around 3+ inches in Dededo and also southern Guam. So those are the hot spots. We did not see anybody reporting 5 inches or 8 inches or 10 inches. And so this was not a significant, memorable rain event by any means. So it's just it was a wet pattern here in the windy dry season, but it's very typical with the shear line, these windy conditions. So keep in mind, we do have some advisories in effect. That's a high surf advisory for north-facing reefs, as well as a high risk of rip currents for north-facing reefs. That's going to continue through tomorrow morning. There's also a small craft advisory for the waters of Tinian and Saipan because of the stronger winds up there, and also the flash flood watch remains in effect, but I think that will be allowed to expire as planned later this afternoon.
All right. Well, unfortunately, we do not have Mother Nature's number on speed dial, but I have Landon Aidlet and the National Weather Service on Zoom. And, for my money, that's just about as good. So, Landon, we always appreciate the insight on that.
Absolutely. We'll see you soon.
All right. Please stay tuned, everybody. There is more HotSpot, as Landon was mentioning. HotSpot, get that? Product placement. The dude's a marketing genius, too. When we come back.
We're living in a new world with new ways of communicating, connecting, and moving through life.
Every day seems to be marked with change, and with all these changes, you need trusted people you can rely on for advice and insights about the things that really matter.
Let Gina and I walk you through everything you need to know about real estate, from buying to selling to renting, and all the details in between.
Join us with Jason Solis every week on House to Home.
House to Home every Tuesday on KUAM News Extra, presented by RE/MAX Diamond Realty.
All right, and that is going to do it for our show, everybody. This has been the HotSpot. We come to you each and every weekday at 11 a.m. right here, YouTube, Facebook, KUM TV 8. We're out.